We'll call this September 12th Jackson County Commission meeting to order. Have our roll call.
District 1, Mr. Duffy. Present. District 2, Mr. Billable.
Present.
District 3, Mr. Miller. Present. District 4, Mr. Little. Present. Chairman also present.
We do have a quorum present. We'll have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Renner.
Let's pray together. Lord God, our Father, you're the maker of heaven and all things on earth, and we're so thankful for those things that you have created for our benefit and our use. We pray that we'll be good stewards of those things that you have provided for us. And continue to bless us individually and as a county. Watch over us, God, and guide us and direct us. Continue to watch over those in the armed services, because we know they give so much, and then some of them are in harm's way. We pray for their safety. We pray for their comfort of their families. Bring them home safely. Watch over us, God, and guide us and direct us. We're so thankful and we're so hopeful because we know that you're in charge of all things. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the agenda. We have 13 items on the agenda. Item number 13 we can move forward with tonight, but it might be best that we just take that, review that agreement, and then put it on the meeting for the 26th. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move item 13 off the agenda, leave us with the other 12 items. Are there any other changes before we proceed? There's a, oh, we have that too. Okay, any other changes? Have a motion to approve the agenda as presented, or with that change?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Okay. We have no order of presentation. We have two folks that have signed up to speak, and the first is Mr. Gary Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges, citizens of Scottsboro. I want to speak to you briefly. Bellefont's been in the news quite a bit as of late. Of course, I'm a member of several environmental organizations. One is the Bellefonte Efficiency and Sustainability Team and Union of Concerned Scientists. A couple of years ago, a nuclear engineer and scientist from the union came and spoke to you all about what would happen if Bellefonte was not to come about. And of course, here we are now at this time. There's been some misunderstandings. A lot of people will say, well, this is an environmental organization that doesn't like Bellefonte. That is not true. We've always said that Bellefonte is a viable option, but not as nuclear power. This has been a long-standing, for 8 years, we've been trying to tell the community and various politicians in this area, to include federal, state, and y'all, I spoke before about this, and the city, that Bellefonte is not a viable option for nuclear power. However, there was an option a few years ago, back in the mid-90s, for combined cycle natural gas. That option is still not necessarily off the table, but whether that will be a viable option is yet to be seen. But one of the reasons I want to mention this to y'all today is that y'all might be in contact with politicians and be in contact with various people in the community that are interested in Bellefonte, or investors. There is a viable option for Bellefonte, and that includes combined cycle natural gas utilizing the existing infrastructure out there. You have a multi-million-dollar power yard out there, distribution yard. You also have a heat sink in the form of the nuclear reactor pressure vessel that is there. That can be utilized for combined cycle natural gas, also solar power, and there's been surveys done on that area of the river. Run-of-the-river power generation is a viable option for that area. The river actually flows very fast there. There is modern techniques and generators which can be placed outside the channel so as not to interfere with shipping traffic, barge traffic, or even bass fishermen. The current generators, turbines, can be used to generate power. Combined with solar and combined cycle natural gas, there is a power system out there called flex power is by GE, General Electric. It's been installed in several countries and in the United States. It's also possible to have a smaller scale pumped hydro storage out there. Basically, you can pump water through pipes, generate power through the pumping action, and send it back down the river without interfering with the flow of water. This all can be done from Bellefonte. The reason I bring this up, you don't have to, the taxpayers and ratepayers, we've already, through TVA, there's a waste of $5 billion that has been invested there with no power generated. It doesn't have to be further waste. The total cost to run a pipeline from Marion County, Tennessee, down to this area, complete the infrastructure at Bellefonte, has been estimated to be no more than $3 billion. To continue on with this charade of nuclear power, which ain't never going to happen, folks, it ain't going to happen. To complete one nuclear power plant, it's going to cost $8 billion. One. Just one. To complete both power plants, in other words, you got one power plant that's 50% complete, you got another power plant that's 33% complete. It is going to be close to $20 billion. There is no it'd be insane for a publicly traded power company to invest, particularly Southern Company or Duke Power, when they're already investing in power projects, nuclear power projects in South Carolina and Georgia and Florida, which has massive cost overruns. It would be the death of any CEO to suggest buying Bellefonte for a nuclear power plant. I mention this to you to keep this in mind. Keep this in the back of your mind and remember this. Bellefonte does not have to be wasted as a power provider. It can be utilized as that, but not nuclear power. It just is not viable. Plus, if you go nuclear power, think about this. You're strapping this community for thousands of years, for future generations upon future generations with nuclear waste. That's not going to go away. There is no viable option to ship nuclear waste to. The storage area out west, that's not going to happen for any time soon. So just remember, nuclear power is not going to work at Bellefonte. The expense is too excessive. But there is a power option out there, that does not, the current infrastructure does not have to be wasted. We recommended the TVA that they not sell Bellefonte. They keep it in their stock and utilize it for exactly that. Sustainable, renewable power options, run-of-the-river solar, and combined cycle natural gas with combined heat to power. See, wherever you have waste heat, there is a power engine that can be installed to actually generate electricity. Anyway, that's my presentation. And I wanted to run that across y'all in case you go to D.C. and hear the chamber and various people talking about this up there or any other place. This is just food for thought. Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm representing the Board of Registrars. Since we came in October of last year, our current and new Secretary of State has been very, very proactive in trying to get everybody registered and availability of making it convenient. One way of that is a lot of electronic, either at home or going to get your driver's license in Alabama or going to Victor's office, and they just pass that information that they already have about the person's personal info, and we get them registered or updated. And in doing so, the current monitors that we had were just inefficient to handle 3 programs that were working out of at one time on one screen. So we tried it for a little while and decided that we would just take it upon ourselves because our budget didn't have the money in to buy monitors, so we bought each of our own monitors. It has been a good decision to go ahead and get them. It's worked out real well. It helps us to be more better use of our time and being able to handle the workload that's coming through now. So I would like to ask if you consider that maybe we could be reimbursed. It's like $140 a piece. They're actual television monitors we bought and Walmart's computer monitors. And one other item that we do need that we have not purchased, it's not in our budget, for your consideration. With this one, there's no further cost on that one, but this one is a barcode label printer. It's like $128, but with the occasion that they would be labels that we would need to buy. I've talked with the company that the county's starting buying from now to find out the largest quantity that we could get, because you get a better price with buying. And 500 labels is the largest number we can get, and it's $21.86. That is half of the price of 4 stores I checked at Huntsville. So that's just something I'd like for you to think about, that we could really use that, because everything, the applications that come through have to be scanned in and attached to the file. With the barcodes, that allows them just to be scanned in and they attach themselves, versus us having to go through and do about 5 or 6 steps to get it attached with the workload that we have. So that's my presentation.
Thank you. We do have, I think, that we have a budget meeting next week, and I think we're gonna discuss some of these things. These are the same things you brought to us before, right?
A couple of them.
Or at least in the small budget meeting we had, okay. So we can address that next Monday at that point. Any questions on it? Comments? So we'll have that thing, and then we'll approve whatever, either in the budget at one time or whatever we need to do the following week on 26th. Okay. Conclude the public comments. We'll move on to minutes from previous meetings. We have those minutes today. So we'll move on to the no old business. Move on to the first item of new business. And first item of new business is motion to approve the Pleasant Grove community donation. This is motion to approve and concur with that donation to be split $1,000 from both Mr. Miller, or to be split between Mr. Miller's and Leslie's funds. It's $500 each. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve that expenditure?
Make a motion.
Motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, next items regarding storage building at Jackson County Park. Was this presented last week? So do we have any other questions or comments on this? Do you have information on the cost on that, or?
Yeah, I gave everybody a copy of it last week, I think.
Okay.
And you and Mr. Venable wanted to get a price on the fence, so that would go with the project also, and that includes the fence.
Okay, the price that was presented?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on that?
And also the city of Scottsboro will have to inspect the concrete slab. So I think that's one thing that we was concerned about also.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If this is approved, I guess we need to clarify which dollars these will come from, either the park project improvements or 116. Was there any discussion on that? How do we want to, which fund do we want to approve?
I'd like to keep the park project funds all together.
Okay. So to be paid for out of the park project fund? Okay, so this was presented last week. We have a motion to approve moving forward with this project.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and again, as it was clarified, that'll be paid for out of those dollars from the park
Correct.
project.
The motion should reflect.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Okay. Next item, motion to approve the Medicaid waiver contract with TARCOG. We have the Medicaid waiver, the COA aging, and the senior RX contract, all three that were presented last week. Is that correct? Are there any further questions on these items? Okay, we can approve these separately or together. Can we do that? Together? Okay, we can approve these separately or together.
Make a motion, we approve them all together.
Okay, so approve all three agreements. Do we have that motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion, further discussion on these? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Next item, motion to approve resignation from Public Works Departments, and the recommendation is to fill 2 of the full-time HMT1 positions. Let Mr. Campbell kind of explain what we're looking to do here. Mr. Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As we discussed in the last meeting, I'll be making reference to letters dated August 30th, August 31st, and September 12th for the resignation of the folks listed on those. That's essentially an HMT1 position and 2 temporary labor positions that have resigned, one of which has been since our last meeting. The letter dated September 8th, the letterers dated September 8th recommend filling first the HMT1 vacancy that's left by Mr. Warren, and then backfilling the HMT2 vacancy, which was left by Mr. Hastings' transfer. So essentially we'll be filling the 1, backfilling the 2, and that will leave us with an HMT2 vacancy that in the future we'll fill and not backfill, and then 5 temporary labor positions that we would move forward with filling with your approval.
So just to clarify, we've got 2 HMT1 positions that we're requesting to be filled. And out of those and all the other HMT1s, we will create an HMT2 down the road when requested. And then 5 temporary positions with the vacant. Any questions on that? Okay, do we have a motion to approve proceeding with those recommendations?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion, questions, comments? All in favor say aye. And opposed say no. Okay. Next item is the agreement with the Town of Woodville Veterans Volunteer Fire Department. Any further discussion or questions on this? Okay, do we have a motion to approve this agreement?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. And opposed say no. Next item, motion to approve and sign a resolution regarding the speed limit on County Road 183. This was discussed last week. Any further discussion on this, on how to move forward or how to proceed?
Make a motion, we post it at 30.
Okay, we have a motion to post it at 30. Do we have a second? Okay, any other questions or comments? Mr. Campbell, do you have anything else on that?
No, sir.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay, next item, motion to approve and award an annual bid for the Public Works Department. We have the bids here, I think, again, reviewed last week. Are there any other questions or comments before we proceed? Mr. Campbell, do you have anything to add?
The bid packets are available on the table there if there's anything that needs further consideration or review.
Okay, so any other questions? So we have the recommendation from the bid group. Do we have a motion to accept that recommendation?
Make a motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. Next item, motion to approve the termination of the employee with the Parks Department. We have a letter of termination for the Parks Department here. The idea would be to open this possibility of a transfer, but we would want to leave it open for if we need to go through the process of hiring. If a transfer is requested, we'll do that on the 26th, correct, Mr. Carter? So have a motion to approve, or any questions or comments on this item? Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? And all those in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. Okay, next item is regarding a transfer employee from the probate office and filling of vacancies in the probate office. We also have a resignation from the probate office on the next. So, Judge, would you like to go through this, or would you like me to? How do you want to?
I have an employee who's asked to transfer to the American Appraisal Department. to become an appraiser, pay raise, so I have no problem with that. With that opens up a position. We were already down 2, which the last time I lost an employee, you all picked up the part-time that I kept. So what I've asked to do was for my office to pick up the part-time and to fill the two vacancies, one that was, both of them been created from, one I believe was a termination, the other one was, it will be from a transfer. And then today I had a letter of resignation this morning from an employee, so that leaves me with 3. So we'd like to get this open so we can begin that process.
In this process also, with that transfer, we request, I guess, to handle that administratively as far as the effective date, so that we can get some
Absolutely.
replacements in the probate office before that person is moved.
It's gonna leave me with 2 full-time people, so it would be appreciated by me and mine to keep the transfer, the employee that's gonna transfer, at least so we can get a little bit acquainted with what we need to do.
So, I guess we'll take item 11 first with the opening of 2 positions, accepting that transfer of the employee to be moved once we've replaced one of those positions, and move forward with opening those vacancies. So do we have any questions or comments on that? Okay, do we have a motion to approve that item, that recommendation?
Make a motion.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, any further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed say no. Okay, and then item 12, to approve the resignation of the employee, along with adding that to add a 3rd position for probate that will need to be filled. Have a motion to approve that item?
Move.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Anything else, Jerry? All right. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. All right. That concludes the items on our agenda, so we'll move on to our reports. Mr. Manning?
Nothing.
Mr. Campbell?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Porter?
I don't know. I do. I've spoken with Mr. Miller and Mr. Ledwell both about the printer, and I failed to get that on the agenda. What do I need to do with that?
What is the issue?
We approved it, didn't we?
Did you?
I'm not sure. Is that the one for the fire
Yes.
association?
The Fire Association prints. I did
Yes.
ask from
We
you.
approved
Did y'all
it.
do that? Okay, good.
See Cammy.
Okay.
It was several meetings ago.
Yeah, maybe meeting before last.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anything else? Call her, you right, Mr. Manning? Already calling you?
Nothing today.
Okay. Mr. Venable?
No.
Young?
No, sir.
Mr. Guest? Mr. Glenn?
No, sir.
Okay, that concludes our meeting for today. Several of us will be headed to Washington to meet with our representatives up there and see what good information there is we have. With that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. We are adjourned.
Right.